So your stroke survivor has been discharged home, and huge congratulations. This is an absolutely brilliant thing. However, there's four things you need to understand that will ensure that your physical rehabilitation program that you run in your own home is successful. Hi there. I'm Dr. Kenneth Monaghan. I'm a neuroplasticity expert and I'm a rehabilitation specialist. I have an absolute passion for developing rehabilitation in your own home. So congratulations on improving to the point where you've been discharged home. It's absolutely fantastic. However, I know you're going to be a little bit scared because the reality of getting home is sometimes a little bit grim. There's very little exact instructions available to you regarding, what physical program you should use in your own home and, what kind of therapies that will be successful for you to use in your own home as well. So it means that you and your caregiver are trying to work it out by yourselves, and this is difficult. And, yourselves are not going to be able to know what to do. So you need to know some very important principles that will give your program the best chance of success, the best chance that you'll increase your movement, your strength, your balance, and your ability to walk. So the four things that you need to understand to ensure that your physical rehabilitation program is successful are as follows. Number one, and you probably already know this, but according to experts, average ability and the 10,000 hours rule of meaning from practice will make you an expert in any area of life. And the proof of this comes from Malcolm Gladwell's excellent book, Outliers. Incidentally, the book was given to me by my friend John, a general practitioner, and it has literally changed my life because of the information that's in it. And it's important to understand that this principle of 10,000 hours should be applied to stroke rehabilitation as well. So explain to your stroke survivor that every arm movement, every leg movement, every balance exercise that's undertaken, every step that's taken by them when they're walking, this all adds up to a more successful recovery after your stroke. And the important thing is to ensure that all of these exercises are carried out daily and on a regular basis. And this is the absolute reason that I wrote Lights, Mirrors, Action, because I wanted to show you as a caregiver and a stroke survivor just exactly what therapies can be carried out safely in your own home and how many repetitions you need to do with them. And of course, therapies that I recommend can be carried out at a very minimal cost to you and your family. Now, number two important point is to facilitate rehabilitation success in your own home. You and your stroke survivor, you both need to understand and become knowledgeable about the importance of what I call SMART. So what does SMART stand for? So S stands for self-belief. The fact that your stroke survivor must genuinely and honestly believe that their home program will work, or there's very little point in starting in the first place. I'll discuss a very famous milkshake experiment on a later video, but the main message from that experiment, it explains that our brains, they act like a pharmacy and they create chemicals in our bodies in response to what we believe. So if we believe that we're going to get better, if we believe that our therapies are going to work for us, then our brains, this pharmacy, it floods our body with positive chemicals that will make this change happen. M stands for measurements. And what's very important here in terms of motivation is that your stroke survivor sees proven improvements in their movements, their balance, their walking and their strength. And they see these on a regular basis because it's very difficult when you live with your stroke survivor to see small improvements happening every day. It's a bit like our children at home. We rarely see them getting tall in front of us until they see granny or granddad a few weeks, after a few days, or they see a relation who hasn't seen them for a few weeks, and then they notice that they've gotten very tall. And these measurements can be done easily at home with simple pieces of equipment. So a simple step counter or pedometer can be used for steps. A simple stopwatch can be used to measure times, and simple measuring tape can measure how much movement our arms are able to do as we progress. So I'll describe how to do these in a future video. A stands for active priming. And this means that before a morning or evening program that I'll discuss in Lights, Mirrors, Actions, your stroke survivor should read specifically prepared positive messages that I've created. And these emphasize how well the program is going to work for them. An example of that is going to be showing in a future video. R stands for rewiring. We've discussed neuroplasticity in the past, and rewiring is exactly what happens to your brain during your physical recovery. So neuroplasticity describes that, and it happens in response to everything that you experience. And that can be physical experiences or it can be mental experiences. But it's important for your stroke survivor to know that this happens, because if you know that recovery of your brain function and recovery of new brain pathways is possible, then it makes it much easier to keep going with your program. And you as a caregiver, you should explain and encourage and remind your stroke survivor this on a regular basis. Finally, T stands for 10,000, which we've discussed a little bit earlier. And that concept, that 10,000 hours or the 10,000 hours rule principle of repetitions or meaningful practice, it's exactly what will lead to your rehab success when you carry out this program. Number 3 important fact, your stroke survivor probably will know or sense this instinctively. They'll know which therapies they should use to assist their recovery once they've had a chance to sample them. However, the traditional rules for when people return home is usually that they're not allowed to choose these things, because sometimes it's considered unsafe, or else there's a fear that they'll do harm by doing these. From my experience of working with stroke survivors, it's much more likely that a stroke survivor will do very little therapies or combinations of therapies at home rather than doing far too many of them. So I wrote Lights, Mirrors, Actions to try and give you the confidence to know that it's okay to try certain therapies at home, and it's okay, and it probably is very beneficial for you to take control of the rehabilitation in your own home and choose which therapies that you find work the best for you. So caregiver, please encourage your stroke survivor to let you know which therapies instinctively feel like they're having the best effects for them, and encourage them to do these therapies on a more regular basis. And then finally, number 4, as a caregiver, you will genuinely feel worried that lots of exercises may cause a reoccurrence of the stroke in your stroke survivor. And I think this is absolutely understandable, especially after everything that you've experienced and the stress of everything that's going on because of them being home. So please don't worry about this. Please don't worry about the therapies that I've chosen in Lights, Mirrors, Action, because they're simple therapies, and the evidence for walking, stretching, mirror therapy, cross-education of strengthening, and sensory substitution, all the evidence endorses their safety and shows them to be perfectly safe to use at home. As a reminder as well, the latest guidelines from the UK and the Irish Clinical Stroke guidelines, it suggests that a minimum of 3 hours of repetitive practice should be carried out in your own home during stroke rehabilitation to give stroke rehabilitation and the best chance of creating a recovery for your stroke survivor. And that's the goal every day, is to carry out 3 hours of therapy. So please don't worry that your stroke survivor is doing too much. Just ensure that they're doing enough to create that neuroplasticity or that rewiring in their brains. So this is the most important. So thank you very much. I hope you liked this video. If you do, then please give it a thumbs up. It certainly makes me happy to know that you've enjoyed it, and it certainly makes me more encouraged to make more videos like this. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, and then you certainly won't miss any updates, and we'll certainly see you again soon. Finally, if you haven't already connected to me, come over to lightsmirrorsaction.com, which you'll see at the bottom of the page or on the right-hand side of this page, where you can sign up for my weekly LinkedIn newsletter, Stroke Recovery at Home. Inside the newsletter, I'll give you updates that I don't share anywhere else, And you can also get access to other resources. Please also comment or post a question to me, and I might just be able to answer that question with another video. Thank you very, very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll certainly see you in another video soon.